Oh,
Okay, we are ready.
welcome to the February 18th, 2026 meeting of the Executive Committee. My name is Sandy McKee and I'm Chair of the committee. Tonight we are joined by Assistant District Manager Brendan Berth, and this meeting is called to order at 6:30. As a reminder, New York State law requires all committee members who are not able to attend in person to have their cameras on and their first and last names displayed from the time the meeting is called to order until the time the meeting is adjourned. Members of the public who are attending virtually, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. We don't have anyone from the public. We do have a board member though. Justin Goldberg will take the minutes tonight. Is Justin online? No?
No, I don't see him.
He's on the train apparently. We will now take attendance by roll call. Brendan will conduct the roll call.
Committee members, I will call your name. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce if there is quorum. Tanya Arias.
Present.
Neil Barclay. I do not see. Stu Desser.
I am here.
Jason Fromowitz.
Present.
Justin Goldberg. I do not see. Rupal Kakad.
Present.
John Keller.
Present.
Anton Malner.
Present.
Sandy McKee.
Present.
Alec Militek.
Present.
Steve Perez.
Present.
Gabe Perzo, I do not see yet. Pat Valero, I also, Pat Valero. I don't see Kat yet. Jerry Weinstein, is on his way. Gabe Perzo is here.
Okay.
We have a quorum.
All right. The agenda for tonight's meeting is reflected on the screen before you. If there's no objection, we will adopt the agenda. Raise your hand if you have any objections to adopting the agenda. Seeing none, seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. The minutes from January's meeting are still being drafted?
Yes, there.
Okay. Once they're ready for your review, they will be sent to you. Ground rules, please don't speak until granted the floor. If you hear, raise your hand and I will identify you so you can speak. If you're on Zoom, I will identify you so that you're able to speak. Please have only one person speak at a time. It's extremely difficult to hear on Zoom if two people are talking. Don't use the chat function for committee business. Chair's report, excuse me. Borough board meeting is tomorrow and on the agenda is the community board needs. So big item is space and enough money to rent space if we don't have space. So that's, I think that's an issue for all the boards, but.
Office space or meeting space?
Meeting space, because DCAS highly controls how much office space. We're trying to get rid of what's behind this wall, but we have to do it through DCAS, and so even that takes money to get it working. So it's a problem.
What are the chances of getting
In the current budget, probably very slim.
very slim? Yeah.
That's my guess. Stu.
Wouldn't it make sense to get rid of this rather than try anything else? And meanwhile, we could just shift it someplace. I mean, there's space there, you can move stuff back.
Do you know how to take it apart?
We were,
Yeah, we have to give it back to DCAS.
I was looking with Jesus at how it's put
Yeah.
together. It's tricky, but it can be done.
Why do we need to wait for decast? Isn't there just a bunch of like old?
Well, it's
Junk back there?
Old file cabinets and just
Oh.
this system.
Oh,
So we'd really like to get it out of here, but if we have
oh,
a group of people who'd be interested in taking it apart, we could certainly.
so it's not like stuff that can be thrown away, it's stuff that has to be
It has to be.
stored somewhere.
stored.
Okay,
Is there storage available?
We would have to pay for it.
We have to pay for it?
It's a bit of a catch.
We can try taking it apart and stacking it in.
Yeah, we can.
There's things we can try to do.
So maybe we,
You're,
yeah.
I've actually never looked back there. How much paper is back there? There's a lot.
Brenton, it's mostly empty now, right? The file
The
cabinet.
file cabinets are empty, there is paper in boxes.
I was wondering, is it possible to digitize that, or is that not legal?
Or can we throw it out?
Or can we throw it?
Cash annuals.
On that, I would defer to Jesus. Who I know is not here tonight, but.
Yeah. All right, well,
I'm not positive on that.
anyway, there's definitely space available if we wanted to do that. So why don't, Stu, do you want to set up a time to do that?
Why is it every time I speak, I sing to volunteering?
Because you are.
Do you understand how that is?
Take a look.
It's your leadership skills coming through.
That's definitely not it.
Okay, and I think everybody got the memo that the borough president put out about, some of the rules for attendance. Apparently, that's been a big issue with a lot of boards. We seem to be doing all right with the hybrid models, so I don't think there's any concern to keep that. But one thing that was interesting is trainings and task forces do not have to meet open meetings law, so they do not have to be recorded in public. But we should be careful if the entire committee is there and you're actually discussing future agendas, that's probably a meeting. So, just, be careful. District needs, how is that going, the new process?
We've been good response, I saw from transportation.
Anybody else? I mean, has everybody gone through the process so far?
No.
Next week.
Yeah. Land use will go through it next week, and actually, there's something I'll mention during my, I guess, assistant
Yeah.
district manager report related to that, where I should consult the committee. It's a section of the district needs statement where 3 committees could have a claim to it.
Yeah, so we
and
need to sort.
So that's something to sort out. I'll bring that up during my report.
And Rupal, didn't your committee decide on their district needs, main
Uh,
category?
Yeah, in the Health and Human Services, we agreed on mental health, and before our next meeting, Gloria and I are gonna work on the blurb. I just got sick and my head is just too foggy to do anything right now, but hopefully by this weekend, my brain will be back and I can work on it. But next month, we do have it on the agenda to look at the blurb and have the resolution ready. And Brendan is also gonna then also start the process for the youth education and child welfare to start the process of like picking the most important issue and then working through it. So we're kind of gonna, as we complete the health and human services part of district needs, then we're gonna start on the other part of it next month.
And, it doesn't have to be the chair and vice chair.
Get sick.
Do-
Yeah, so this one, Gloria and I are gonna do it, but I'm hoping that for the education part of it, that I might be able to ask Katie to kind of take more of a lead on it, especially when it comes to writing the blurb and that. So, yeah.
I mean, you can select anyone from the committee. Who's
Yeah, well, I volunteered to write the blurb, and then Gloria agreed to help me with it, so it just ended up being the 2 of us.
Okay.
When do we need to complete these by?
It's not till the fall,
Oh,
but I keep
never
getting
two.
sliding off the agenda. so-
Yeah,
You only have 3 meetings left before we go on summer break.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Or 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point too. Yeah, okay.
So sooner rather than later.
Exactly. And budget requests, how the new way to do budget requests, how is that working?
We make one in transportation.
And it worked well, this is.
Sure.
Did you fill out the form?
Yeah.
So did you fill out the form before you brought it before the committee or after?
It was after.
After, that makes, yeah. There, I think there was some concern, you have to fill out the form first, you have to. It's not a big deal, just fill out the form when you, Okay,
It's the same form as whatever we had last year, right? That form isn't changed or it's not a new form, right?
I think it's the same form, yeah. And so that brings up, we're actually, one of the things that the borough president really told us we need to do is advocate for our budget requests. So we're gonna meet with our elected officials and go through our budget request list and say, how do we get these things? It's not in the city budget, or how do we make sure we get them? So, yeah, Stephen Rushmar are kind of spearheading that from the Budget and Government Affairs. One thing.
Do you mean,
Sorry, Justin, go ahead. I
I was
didn't see
saying,
your
you mean
hands.
you're advocating? You'd be advocating at the meetings, or when you say we should advocate, who's we?
Well, now that we have our district needs, we as a board are advocating for them. And it's the Budget and Government Affairs Committee that's doing that since they marshaled the district needs and the budget requests. Okay. One of the other things we've talked about doing is speaking to local community groups to get their feedback. And maybe doing that quarterly. Sometimes the local community groups are not. I mean, it would be good to know what their concerns are. Let's put it that way. It's something we have not done. Yeah, I know. You're not facing the camera, so it's okay. But it does seem a responsible thing to do.
When we say community groups, are we talking about community groups that are already formed?
Already
and that-
formed.
Like the Murray Hill Neighbors and
Turtle Bay.
Turtle Bay.
SAC, and going south, I guess there's the Rose Hill Initiative.
Okay,
There's some established groups in our district.
and how do we go about it?
Well,
Do we invite them here? Do we go
we would
there?
invite them here for
Okay.
a half hour, 45-minute discussion,
I
and
think
we
it's a great
have them
idea.
all at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Will they go to committees, to each committee, or how do you wanna handle
I
that?
think we just have them come together once, we compile what the concerns are and give it to the committee that's the appropriate committee.
My suggestion, syntax aside, would be to organize it as a town hall and have it beginning of the cycle rather than at the end where it seems as though we're just doing lip service. I mean, it's all ugly,
Well,
but.
no, but the
it's-
town hall is a big production.
Well, if we don't like, that's why I caveated that we don't like the name and so forth, but something early in the process so that we could circle back and it doesn't feel like.
Yeah. Well, if we do it once a quarter, I mean, or so maybe twice throughout the year, we don't,
And
as
I
we've only got.
recommend some research about people who haven't been heard, who aren't coming because they have a specific issue to rebut, but who have ongoing issues, whether or not it's around homelessness or anything else, because there's countless groups.
So if that's the case, I suggest maybe then they go to committee.
Committee.
Yeah, if they would, like, if they have an issue with homelessness, they should go to the homelessness committee. Housing it.
Would we try to reach out to as many different groups as possible, not just neighborhood associations, right, but maybe representatives of the hospitals or other kinds of advocates that
Well,
form
actually,
here, or would it just be tailored to the neighborhood?
just to the community groups so far, because we actually have bids, we have
Right,
a cab for,
right,
we're trying to restart the cab for Bellevue because it was closed during the pandemic. We have one for
What is that,
the,
sorry?
sorry,
What is a cab?
a community advisory board.
For that, okay, yeah.
And we have one for the children's shelter.
right.
So we do have various groups that we can reach out to.
Okay,
But I think this is more to hear about the community, what their concerns are.
okay.
Sandy, have you done this before, or is this a new
It's
initiative?
a new initiative,
So we should at least try to program it in such a way that we can handle it,
exactly.
because otherwise it gets
And we don't,
it gets really crazy, held town halls. Maybe the thing to do is to set up a sort of strategy or format of how we're gonna do this. Who we're gonna reach out to, and they come to us, to the executive committee, and then we parse it out to the committees, or how does it?
I think
Going
we're
to
going to
be
just
done.
have a meeting with one representative from each group to start out. And so we get all the committee, all of the people from the community here, they speak to one or two representatives of the board and
Okay.
then we,
I think it's a great idea. We just have to formulate
We
it
have to
properly.
and decide on who the groups are. I have a rough name and I can send that out if people want to add or,
Okay.
we can do that. Okay, and I think that's it for my chair's report. I guess, Brendan, do you have your,
Well, do we want to discuss the resolution for George James and the email policy before then?
I'm not sure what follows on the agenda. I want to do that first.
Yeah, the land use consulting services.
Okay, so yes, all
And
right.
then my report.
Let's do that. Well, then we have the discussion of I'm sorry, I'm not following it. So the resolution authorizing the continuation of land use consulting services by George James. And do we have the resolution was sent out?
And I'll share it on screen shortly.
It's very short.
Mhm. And one of the reasons that we're doing this is because we did have money set aside and they've run out. So, but Stu, you had a question.
So I presume it's here because of the money, but normally if it's an issue that I'm not familiar with, I want to trust the committee that actually deals with it, which would be land use.
It's not solely land use, it's housing as well. So,
I just
have-
feel like I know nothing about this. And
I'd be happy to speak. Well, you're a huge fan of this.
My hero, some ways.
I think from a land use perspective, he is incredibly reliable,
Yes.
subject matter expert. He's both personable, but also extremely knowledgeable. He's come through for us when we've had any number of questions, and he breaks things down in a way that is granular, but accessible for the lay people. And so I think he has a lot of value and is an asset to the community board.
I agree with Gabe 100%. He's great.
Just
and
maybe a legal question. We're gonna be spending money.
mhm.
My question is, should this have been go on to some kind of bidding process?
No, we're under the amount
Oh,
that requires open
Okay.
bidding.
It's 20,000.
Wait, it's 20,000.
20,000.
I have a question about why we're even needing to pass a resolution for this in the first place.
Because it's a fair amount of money for the board.
Okay.
And I believe it's coming from our street fair funds.
Oh,
It's discretionary funding that we're.
gotcha.
So it's enough money, we have to bring it to a resolution, the resolution, but not enough money to have it bid.
Right.
Okay.
I do have a question though, kind of, how long do we expect this to last? Cause he had been on retainer since I got to land use, so I'm curious about how long we can expect this to.
Brendan, do you know how long the retainers have been? It was 20,000 before, and I think it's 5 years. That's. Oh.
Yeah, it says in February 2017, May 2020, so
Yeah.
I'm guessing close to 6 years based on that.
That's it.
But obviously that can be shorter or longer depending
On how
on
much.
how-
We're pretty ignorant, so it could go up, but, he's a terrific, for that, I think he's terrific.
That's a real deal, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a lot of research.
I have a question, having been a planning consultant myself, does he bill us hourly or does he bill us by task? Or is this just on retainer and then when this money is exhausted, then we have to pass it?
So the way it's set up now, previously we gave him a lump of money and then when it ran out,
Okay,
but now we're going to pay him by the hour.
okay,
And his rates are very reasonable.
right.
He has a community board.
Do we know what the hourly rate is?
I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I was told, but I don't remember.
Okay.
So
It's true.
does everyone who's not me, feel comfortable that they have enough knowledge to vote on this?
George also goes before a lot of other community boards, so it's not just ours, he's sort of a liaison, if you will, to.
I mean,
many
I
boards in the city.
will trust everyone's voice here, if that's the sentiment.
Oh, Kat has her hand raised. Go ahead, Kat.
Yeah, hi. Just kind of echoing another question that was already asked, but asking for more specificity. If we are going to be paying hourly, however we're going to facilitate the payment, that probably should be included in this, just for transparency, since there are questions coming up regardless of the long tenure and relationship and working relationship we've had. Just so that we can kind of do our due diligence that it's in writing somewhere. Especially since Tanya and I are also watching the money of the street fair money as well as other things.
So do you want to propose a whereas? To add to the?
Whereas to add what the hourly figure is and the amount of, like, the tenure, the year. And if
I'm not sure it's fair to put an hourly
Yeah,
amount in.
those
because
also change,
They go up, theoretically go up every year.
right?
Right, but do we have in this, I'm sorry if I didn't see it outlined, like how long this is supposed to be active for?
Well, I have a question that might help answer that. Would we enter into a contract with George, or is this just, like, we can include that we are retaining him on an hourly rate at this rate, and he should notice us if it will notify us if it changes and fluctuates, and we can have him on retainer for certain tasks that we were very explicit with what we want to use him for, as opposed to just saying, here's $20,000 and we'll use, our discretion.
And the problem with that has always been, we're not very clear on the tasks until they come up, and then who actually says, who says, George, here's the task?
Mhm.
Is it the chair of the land use, chair of housing?
Sure.
We've had cases where people ask him things randomly and he very nicely answers. I don't think he charges for it, we've sure, but. So we don't have a very rigid process right
Okay,
now.
all right.
Maybe we should.
I mean, if I were to make a suggestion, that's what I would suggest we include as a whereas, is
Okay.
that we would enter into sort of a contract with him, that way we can outline everything and the expectations that we have. So that way, the hourly rate that you brought up, Kat, could be easily codified in that contract.
Okay, so let's add that to our,
So what would the wording be? And where? Maybe,
Whereas Community Board 6 intends to enter into a on-call retainer contract or something with.
on-call retainer.
On-call retainer contract with George Janes to be finalized with approval of, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, X, Y, and Z.
so whereas. Would be authorized to,
Would intend to, maybe,
Or just say would.
Would offer,
would.
would offer.
Would offer, would. Or Manhattan Community Board 6 would, I think you could just say would enter into a contract agreement with George Janes and Associates. To be finalized. I don't know, is that something that we'd
Or
have to get?
we could say would enter into a contract agreement with George Janes and Associates based on hourly rates,
Yeah,
based on their hourly rate.
hourly rates, sure.
Sandy,
Tanya.
is the 20,000 sort of the maximum we're willing to spend? Because in hourly rate,
Yeah.
piles up, is 20,000 our max?
I'm
Well-
trying to remember why we put that in, if that was over
Yeah.
20,000 requires multiple, going up to multiple groups. For some things, over a certain amount, you have to put out an RFP, a request for proposal.
Hourly rates pile up.
And amazingly, he's given us a lot for what we had for 20,000, so.
Yeah, that's what, so we went from 20,000 as a fixed rate, right, as opposed to an hourly rate now. Is that what we're
No,
doing
no,
now?
he's always been on an hour.
He's always been on an hourly
Yes,
rate,
yes.
but it's been within the 20,000.
Right.
So maybe that's the limit.
Yes, and so once we,
20,000, because we can't. you know.
once we get past 20,000, we do this again.
Okay.
I think, Kat, go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow, I was like gonna raise my physical hand in case you missed the automated emoji. This is a little bit more clear. I guess the only other question I have, since we have been for lack of other words, loose in our tracking, and I think this would be helpful for new board members in the future, as well as historical reference to the relationship, the ongoing relationship with this vendor, to maybe put in the resolution how we as the community board is going to track the work facilitated. Is that going to be in other resolutions with land use, for example, or whatever other committees that George Johnson Associates touches?
Brendan? go
Yeah, I
ahead.
mean, I will say, like, I don't have as intimate of knowledge as Jesus and like Party Bush is here, here's like good answers on these questions, but I do get the sense that Jesus is pretty diligent about.
And
tracking.
it is tracked, and the way it's been set up is that, right now is that land use or housing has an issue come up, and it's discussed, and then I authorize going forward. So whether that's a good strategy, I don't know.
Who contacts him? Does it go through the office?
I must say recently it's gone through me,
Okay,
and I always, I copy the office.
so maybe that should be.
So we'll just say that, I mean, if we want to make it a more clearer way to actually engage him,
Yeah,
that committee chairs will speak to the board chair,
I think that's the way.
and it's then we
Yeah,
clarify the task for him to go forward.
now there should be some sort of protocol.
Yeah,
If it's going on an hourly rate, so it's.
Sounds like it should go in the chair's handbook.
the chairs.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that I can't speak for Jesus, but my guess is that he would favor like that sort of.
Yeah.
Because
We-
apparently there have been a few issues with like individual members just
Just,
randomly reaching out
Reaching
to
out.
George, which does cost money.
Yeah, yeah,
and we slap their hands, but that's.
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why you need,
Yeah,
you know, the conduit.
So let's put another whereas.
Yeah.
So. Whereas, tasks will be approved by the board chair and forwarded to the consultant.
I would just say that the consultant will only engage in tasks that are approved by
By
the board chair.
That sounds better.
So how would we reword again?
The consultant, whereas the consultant will only be authorized to engage in tasks approved.
Only be.
Authorized to engage. In tasks approved by the board chair.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else you want to add? All right, so if there's no more discussion. we
Wait,
can-
Sandy, did you hear what I don't, did you catch what I said? 'Cause my internet's going in and out.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, we can't.
What I
Yeah.
said is that I would also constrain it to the scope approved by the board chair. It's not just specific tasks. Scope tasks are more like deliverables. I would use the word scope as well.
Okay, in tasks and scope.
Perfect.
Okay, and I think, do we have to do roll call?
Yeah,
Unless we can, what's,
By you-
Anton, what do you say at bulk now? By unanimous consent,
Acclamation.
acclamation, yes.
The agenda is pretty short. There's one cannabis application.
No, sorry. What do you say for acclamation when you don't want to vote?
The tiniest nitpicky thing. To my ear, it sounds a little aggro. I would prefer be authorized only to only be authorized, especially within ongoing relationships. It's like, now we're gonna get serious. So I think that takes down a degree or two.
I'm sorry, what,
Instead of only be authorized only
Yeah.
as an adverb.
Grammar.
Very-
American is blind. Okay. All right, I guess we can do it by show of hands, probably. All those in favor,
On screen.
okay, on screen,
On screen, anybody? Raise hands.
Easier to say who's opposed.
okay,
Can't raise hand.
Neil? We don't see your hand,
also please raise your Zoom hand.
yeah,
Because physical hands are
hard to count,
harder to count.
okay, we have, it's then unanimous,
Yes.
okay,
So the executive committee unanimously passes this resolution and it will be before board
okay.
next month.
Next up is discussion of CB6 email policy. And Jason was good enough to put together the policy, and I think everybody's had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I will share it on screen in just a moment.
And this is something that was actually discussed at Borough Board, and CB5 shared their policy with us. And so maybe, did that go around to everybody as well, the CB5?
See,
I don't think I have that actually.
Okay.
I don't have that.
So what they do is, can you show that one then too, Brenda, please?
the Dreamer one. Yes,
So each committee has its own dedicated Google Drive folder and committee email address. Where they put committee related documents, etc. And so it's again, something that the chair needs to monitor.
So I'm sorry, that rather than individuals or the chairs, you're saying the committee has its own email address that anyone on the committee can use?
No,
Okay.
it's the repository for information,
Well, that's not the email address, so that's just a repository.
right? So,
That's a drive.
yeah,
But there is an email address
there is an email address.
that everybody can access and use.
I believe, well, let's continue down.
So they have to go back up? Set it right there. So it says members and chairs granted access to the email.
Which I mean. Perhaps by policy they don't send, but they would have access to send.
Yeah, I don't know, feel too comfortable with that.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't like that either.
I do like. Well, it's a possibility that rather than having us be assigned by our name, that each committee chair could get an email address. So it's as they do here, land use or public safety. And then as the human being changes, it's still the same email.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
Yeah.
can still put whatever it's called, the individual person's name associated to the address.
that's,
And that way also, because I think the way you have it is that when somebody leaves the board, then you disable that email address. And that means, so if somebody sends an email there, either they're gonna get it bounced or you're gonna forward it to someone else, which it's kind of messy. It seems to make better sense to me to just have it by committee, chair, whoever that human being happens to be.
I will offer the counter argument, although I'm not necessarily opposed to, committee,
I love your counter.
yeah, mostly playing devil's advocate, but, I think. Like, that's the pattern, the name address is a typical, like, corporate professional pattern. Same concerns apply in the corporate world, and in government offices as well, like, actually, in some cases, the city council, for example, has an inbox, but like staffers at city council offices have individual email addresses. There's not like chief of staff at council district, whatever, dot something, something. So I think it follows a typical pattern to have like a name. My concern with like, sends, like froms, coming from like a generic inbox, I think those are just like, I think that comes off as less like professional and direct to like receive an email from transportation at cb6.org. Like, I think if you're reaching out to like an agency, I think it conveys a better professionalism to have like a name and like a proper email address rather than like an inbox. But yes, I agree that it has downsides.
But I agree with that, I'm just saying, but I don't know what it's called, but when you have your name labeled.
Yeah,
Before, so you can change the label and keep the same address.
you could do that, yeah. It's an option.
Or you could also just copy the committee email to an email that you would send from your own personal account or your own community board account. And if the purpose of it is to be used as an archive and as a repository, then the expectation is that there are gonna be several chairs that will be on the committee over, however many years. If somebody who is chair of that committee is emailing things to agencies or other committee members and they copy that repository, then there's a record and, however long Google or whatever email account.
I don't think that was the intention to create a repository, but I think that may make sense if that is the intention.
Yeah, I mean, cause I think we wanna have like an archive of sort of, past emails and precedents, so that way there's a continuation when we have new chairs of committees going forward.
And I mean, the other thing is that there could be quite a bit of turnover, so that the problem of having to change names and constantly.
Is that a warning?
No, it's just, I mean, we've had several people leave the board recently, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're a public entity, so to speak,
Mhm.
do we not have to keep an archive, these
Yes.
types of emails, or any communication?
Do we?
Yeah.
And how long?
Yeah, that's.
Because I've discussed this with Jesus and that we've never been clear.
No, but that's the problem. I mean, we do, if this community board is foiled. Even though we're sending stuff on our personal account, that stuff is,
They'll foil your account, absolutely.
so, yeah, so, I mean, and it does have to be retained, so if I leave and you disable my mailbox. You still have to keep copies of the stuff that I send.
Right.
Which is beautifully written, so I'm not embarrassed by it.
The trouble is, right now, we don't have access to it. The
You
board
sure
doesn't
do.
have access. to it.
Definitely do not.
Exactly. Which is, I mean, it's part of a bigger concern. We don't want people randomly emailing stuff to agencies either. It's like George James, we want to have it sort of under some guidance and some way to keep it.
That sounds like a policy.
Yeah. Yeah, so, but the emails should reinforce the policy. They should be related, shouldn't. Jason,
Something I really don't like about CB5, sorry, apologies to CB5, but I think use of Gmail is shady and unprofessional.
I hate Gmail. It's not good.
I like Gmail fine, I just, not to disparage Gmail,
I
but.
find it hard to maneuver Gmail.
Interesting.
oh, and
Yeah.
I just meant the domain, using the domain.
The domain, it's not using Gmail.
Yeah.
It's free, I appreciate it.
it's free, it's,
Yes.
yeah. Which is part of another, nice thing. And we've already, I mean, the reason this came up is we have some people who have. I mean, Molly Hollister has a CB6 email address and it's like, no need.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I attempted to address.
Yeah.
And theoretically, we could drop the committee part and just use the focus on the chairs,
Right.
the board chair if we wanted to.
Yeah, or we could have these, instead of being at Gmail, we could have them at cb6.org.
That's what I would,
Yeah,
for one of them.
so
Yes.
it's 9 additional, you know, email addresses. We probably have those already.
And I should just say that when I send email out, sometimes people are too trusting. But I will often copy someone in the office just so they see that so this is really, the Gmail doesn't do it for me. cb6.org does legitimize us.
I agree, I like that.
Yeah, and I agree that like when I've reached out to like, I don't know, people at times about CV6 business, I think it's it's odd, them from my personal at Gmail
Yeah,
when
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a CV6 related business.
Right, there
Yeah.
should be a way to do
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pat's hand is up.
it. Sorry, who's?
Pat's hand is.
Oh, Kat, please go ahead.
Okay, it's the disadvantage of being virtually, no offense. Thank you, Stu. I agree that you can change the domain name to whatever you wish. I actually just did this with a company that I'm working with remotely at the moment. So that can be changed. I think what I'm also hearing, I have 2 questions. One, do we have a policy in place or like kind of like a decision tree of best practices already when it comes to email? Maybe this is a Brandon staff kind of question. And 2, since there would be a cost with this, it sounds like with this proposal, and I might be missing this, but where would that be budgeted? Where would that money be taken out of? What account?
Answer with regards to the cost. So if we use the at cb6.org domain, I think we're paying around $150 per account.
Is that annual?
Yes,
Can we do aliases?
you can do aliases, but then each like inbox would have to be is one in one account. So you get multiple aliases going to one inbox.
But you can't, I thought you could filter that with an alias. I've never used aliases, but I thought you could filter it back so it looks like they're all individual accounts. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I guess in theory you could game it by having everything go to one account and having multiple aliases and then filtering the
And you don't like the
emails.
theory?
But then you'd have everybody having access to that one account, would be my concern.
And there'd be a ton of emails coming in all at once to that one account.
And do we know how many we have right now? How many accounts?
Jesus would know
Yeah.
that. I do not.
Okay.
But I thought we were trying to reduce the number of accounts.
Yes.
So this is not achieving our goal.
Well, my proposal in creating the member specific emails was that we would have a separate domain that would not be using Gmail. So this gets a little bit complicated and technical, so I apologize. But if we used a subdomain like member.cb6.org, we could use a different email provider for that separate subdomain. We could use a much lower cost one that's somewhere around the lines of like $15 a year. It wouldn't have all the robust $10 a year. It wouldn't have all of the robust functionality of Gmail, but I don't think that's needed for most of our members. I think we would keep the Gmail robust functionality for board staff and like for general inboxes, but I think for less heavy use,
Would POP3 and IMAP still be enabled?
yes. And the web interface, but yes, probably.
So,
And Jason, that's a pretty reliable platform.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time and did some research into it.
Yeah,
so, I mean, if it solves,
$10 a year.
Yeah, that's within our budget, I think. And, it's basically a similar system.
It's not as pretty, but you enter username and password, there's a list of emails.
What about the storage limit?
I believe it is like unofficially unlimited. Which basically said like if they basically will let you know if you're abusing it. I was gonna say. It's just a little weird that emails don't always often have a subdomain, so that's sort of the con, is that we would have a subdomain. It's, you don't see that a lot, that you have a members dot, but you do see it in some official, like, New York City ones. Where they've like council.nyc.gov as an email, so it's not that abnormal, but it's a little bit abnormal.
Instead of member, you could put board.
Yeah, it's something along those lines.
So is it something we should at least investigate further? Go down that route? Everybody's sort of, I mean, it's true, we do need a policy for how long do we keep this stuff and what happens when we switch chairs or when.
Do we still want the chair to have a separate named account, or do we want chair to be chair at?
I don't think I think it's just chair. Well, if you use transportation, for instance, transportation chair.
No, I meant board chair, for your email.
Oh, I don't know. I don't particularly care how I mean, it would be hard to change it now, but
Yes.
for the new chair, it could be.
I think the chair should have their own email, the board chair.
I think so too.
And the board office does, and
Yes, yeah, and I think I did address that on here, that like, yeah, we would keep the board office, each member of the board staff would have a regular.
so
just an
it's
email.
more committee chairs and board officers.
Yeah.
Should we at least, go down this road and try it out?
And so we'll change everything to, instead of by name, we'll do it by committee.
Committee,
And then the chair of the committee will have access to that. They, in transitioning, if there's a new chair, we would give them, they would have access to the account and the history
and
and.
they changed the password.
Okay, I think it probably makes sense to revise this to reflect that.
Yeah.
And to
So we have
represent it. Or at least maybe we don't need to represent it, but,
Well, it's probably something that we need written documentation of it. I don't know if we need to go pass it at full board, but at least if we have a clear description of how it's going to work. Kat has her hand raised. Oh, and so does.
Actually, just a point of reference further down, and Jason, thanks for putting this together. There is some more information on how to approach if we do move forward in terms of legacy accounts. I think I saw sunsetting those and a protocol. We just talked about whatever guidelines, I think last month, for chairs and training. I
Yeah.
feel like this is something along the same lines that we would have to consider from a policy or guideline perspective as well. But there is some information already here to kind of set us up for success if we go down this road.
And I think we just need to we need to sort of codify it, but Rupal. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just a clarifying question. So when you say board, committee chairs will have access to it, but you also said all the committee members will also have access to it as well? So like everybody will have access to some email account?
I think the Pearly Mail option, the board members don't have access to it.
No, because you would have to have.
It's just the committee chairs.
Okay, it would be just the committee chairs. Okay.
Right.
that's CV5's approach, is that everybody has access, I think.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
what you're
But
getting.
then everybody would have the password and.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm just saying it's just.
Yeah, I was gonna say that gets too complicated.
It's complicated, yeah.
Okay.
This doesn't solve the drive issue.
No.
There wouldn't be a drive, repository associated with this.
And right now, the office has a drive and it can be divided up. Right now, it's a little amorphous, but it could be, the transportation, each committee has a portion of the drive, or we subdivided into folders or something.
I don't think the drive thing is a problem today. I think the office does a pretty good job of putting materials together with the meeting agendas. That's for the most part where I see in the minutes of the agendas. That's where I see most of our artifacts living. I think that works quite well.
Airtable?
Yeah, the Airtable. Sorry, what did I say? Airgo?
I just heard drive.
Well-
I meant an Airtable.
Okay.
The presentations, for instance, some of the old presentations, you can see them on Zoom, but that's also, you have to watch 2-hour meeting.
But they're generally added on the Airtable tied to the meeting agenda.
Not always, but
Yeah.
sometimes there's other documentation, but maybe it's not an issue, maybe it's just not.
I think I distribute documents to the committee. I'd like to be able to do that myself directly. I do it by email now, but it would be nice if we had it on
a drive that we
A
could,
drive.
everybody could go back and
Yeah.
take a look at. But maybe that's just the office, the CB6 drive. And we've set up a folder that's for you, for your committee. And sorry, Justin wanted to present something and he's on a train, he's running out of battery, so. Are you still there, Justin? Are you ready?
I'm
Do you
here.
wanna-
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm somewhere in Connecticut right now, so on my hotspot. So yeah, so everyone should have received an email earlier today about creating a comprehensive knowledge guide that went out to all the CP6 committee chairs. You'll be receiving follow-up from me directly. The notion is, I don't know, Sandy, if you had the opportunity to discuss with the committee chairs, but the idea is with the changes in or with the 8-year limit, term limit, as well as just in general, we're looking to capture all institutional knowledge that everyone brings. This would be an opportunity to build out for each committee really a kind of go-to guide, whether for new members or people that are interested to learn about it, or for future committee chairs as well as future committee members. This isn't just about knowledge itself, this is also about processes. So I think we want to think about what works, what doesn't work, and capturing all of that. I'm definitely excited. So that's my first thought with it.
And who, you're going to assist chairs to put this together? right?
Yes, that's right.
So are you going to send out some kind of a document that they fill out, or?
Yeah.
I mean, I know some of the other community boards, one of the things they've done is they start off each meeting of the committee and say, what do you think is the most, what's important to know as a member of this committee?
I think I think that the best way to do this is to discuss with the committee chairs individually, have a template, start out the process, and then bring it to each committee and see, what other members want to bring to. I'm worried about too much, just an open-ended question like that. I think that we need some structure first, and then we can go into that later. But I'm going to work with each committee member to, with a template, start developing it, and then we can refine it with input from everyone.
And we have only 3 meetings until, is that right? Until summer break? 4.
It depends on your committee, right? They
Yes,
don't
we've already
meet
had
every
a-
month.
So there's some urgency to sort of, wrap this up. We're losing some long-term members this year, so.
Yeah, and I would like all the committee chairs to really give some thought about what is it that kind of the knowledge and lessons that they really would like to share.
And what's important to know when you join the committee? Steve?
Is this the same thing as the committee handbooks that we talked about like 2 meetings ago?
Yes.
Okay, it's not it's the same thing. Okay,
It's
got it.
another task.
Just wanted to make sure we weren't duplicating. I was actually gonna work on mine, but now
Yeah,
that you're doing it.
yes.
Less thing for me to do. It's on my agenda this month.
Okay, yes, maybe Justin, you want to send something out for as soon as possible. Steve's ahead of you. Oops, okay. I think the conductors. All right, we'll keep moving then if is that everything? Any questions? Okay, thank you, Justin. And now Brendan has his report.
Yes, so yeah, I'm subbing in for Jesus tonight due to a personal matter that he has to deal with. That said, I'll give a report despite the fact that I am not the district manager, rather the deputy. So first, I want to give the reminder that some of you have to reapply for membership on the board. Applications are due on Friday, February 27th at 5 p.m. So if you are supposed to reapply, want to reapply, but haven't done so yet, make sure to do so by then. If you are not sure whether you're due to reapply, go to the resources for CB6 members page of our website. And under the membership status section of that page, there is a link you can click on to see if it is your reapplication.
Does anybody here not know if they need to reapply?
What if we haven't decided?
already
if we're going to
reapplied.
reapply?
How do you know if they received it or not? I reapplied like the first day it came out.
I mean, yeah.
They don't
I
let you know?
You should have gotten an
Email
email
back.
confirmation.
Yeah,
I
you get an
replied
email.
2 days
Got it.
ago, and got
Okay.
a confirmation.
If you didn't get the confirmation, reapply.
You can tell me.
Okay.
And, so really, you're not sure, Jason?
I was joking.
Okay, so that's. Just to let you know, there are some, I mean, Mark Thompson won't be on the board after this year. Maybe B, Kyle is leaving, so. There are some, we've got to grab this knowledge while we can. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, perfectly fine.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, speaking of applications and board membership and all of that. If you choose not to reapply, do let the board office know. And related to all of this, I know, Justin brought up term limits, which is timely. Because, if you are not sure when you will reach your term limit, you can also check that on the resources for PB6 members page on our website. A few of our members will be term limited as soon as next year. So this is a resource to be aware of. The next thing I should bring up is regarding requests to attend virtually. As much as possible, please try to let the board office know in advance of the meeting, that you need to attend virtually. Obviously, last minute circumstances come up and life happens, so sometimes things pop up at the last minute. But unless something genuinely pops up at the last minute, try as best as you can to send your request to attend virtually in advance of the meeting. Because once the meeting starts, the board office staff is busy making sure that the meeting gets off to a good start and stays rolling along. And therefore, it's a lot harder to respond to those requests once the meeting gets started. The last thing I want to talk about is regarding the district needs statement. Several committees have been working on that, others will be working on that soon. But there is a district needs statement matter that we should consult the executive committee on. And the reason for that is there is one section of the district needs statement, the section for core infrastructure, city services, and resiliency, where not one, not two, but 3 different committees could have some sort of claim to this section. If you look at the section here that is relevant to selecting the most important issue for this section, there are certain sections such as environmental concerns affecting citizens that could be relevant to health, Rubles Committee. There are certain sections that are relevant to sanitation, which is Stu's committee, such as cleanliness and trash collection. And then there are even a couple of selections here that are relevant to Gabe's committee, land use, such as protected infrastructure. So I was talking about this with Jesus recently in terms of how to navigate this. And we sort of wanted to consult the executive committee as to how to handle this. One idea I have potentially is for this to be discussed at exec. That way, all of the committee chairs relevant to this section are present. But that's just an idea I had that you all don't have to necessarily go with that. But I do at least want to bring this to exec's attention. And that's it for me, but I do want to consult exec.
So we could treat this the same way that other committees do, and everybody puts in their what they think is the most important, and then we assign someone on exec to write it. We could do it that way.
Yeah.
If that works.
If that's what exec would like to do, we can do that.
So that means everybody on exec needs to get this. You pick the one that you think is the most important. We send it back to the office, and next exec, we talk about
Yeah.
what the final thing is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll also send an email, like since some committees have not necessarily started this process yet, some of you might not be as familiar with this process as others of you, so I'll send an email. I'm hoping tomorrow explaining all of this, so.
Okay.
That's it for me.
All right, committee agendas, hopefully we can race right through this. Transportation's first.
All right.
I will share.
I can, off of memory, start talking about it. So first, we're talking about two things for a request from NYU. Some changes to parking around the orthopedic hospital and Langone ER, as separate items. Then we have, Third Avenue, concerns around 330 Third Avenue, the parking garage, the bike lane. Not quite lastly, we're continuing our conversation on clear sidewalk paths, which is establishing basically a minimum width for clear sidewalks and making legislation, urging for legislation to keep sidewalks clear and creating penalties for not having them clear. And then lastly, statement issues.
Jason, that's a question. Who's responsible for crosswalks?
DOT.
Brendan?
Just a question, like crosswalks with regard to snow clearance or just crosswalks in general? There are no crosswalks with regard to snow clearance have been an issue.
So did you hear that, Tanya? What was?
I'm sorry?
What was?
Crosswalks in general, or crosswalks specifically with regards to snow clearance?
Just snow clearance.
Just snow clearance. So that is the responsibility actually of the adjacent property.
That's what I thought.
That
Yeah.
said, the Department of Sanitation can issue summonses to non-compliant properties. So our office has gotten a few, like 2 or 3 constituent requests after the big snowstorm about that particular issue, and have asked Department of Sanitation to take a look and issue summonses if necessary.
Yeah, I found that this year in particular was particularly bad.
We had a
Other
lot of-
years.
Had a lot of snow.
No, but I was here in 1996.
Had
You
no
know.
melting.
No melting, yeah.
I do find it interesting, never mind, we can talk.
Let's keep going here.
One of our committee members also noted that, bus stops are an
Oh,
issue. They,
brutal.
the MTA, I guess, shovels out the shelter and a pathway to the shelter. But for those who exited the back of the bus,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's a serious problem, and that would probably be. Well, is that sanitation or is that transportation?
It could be either.
It must be
It's probably
transportation.
not transportation because it's MTA, right? So-
No, the street part of it though is the snowplow from the
Sanitation.
sanitation, but it sounds like transportation to me.
It's sanitation does the streets. It's not-
I will say that they did shovel out back 2 sections of, at least I noticed on Third Avenue, for buses, so, there was a big snowstorm, it was a lot of snow, we haven't got a lot of snow in a long time, I think the city should have some leeway on.
Are you old enough to remember the 1996 snowstorm?
Old enough, I was not, living here, so.
Oh, okay.
Let's move on.
Okay.
It's not a problem now. Parks, landmarks and cultural affairs. Neil,
Okay, okay,
if you're okay with everything there, you don't need to read it. Is there anything in addition you want to add?
nope.
Okay, perfect. Any questions for Neil? The host, is somebody from Landmarks gonna come and talk to you about about Landmarks?
No,
Process?
No, I mean, that's not the plan because we did have a meeting when HDC, oh, wait a second, okay. So I was just thinking about that. So yeah, so we wanted someone from HDC to come in and talk about the landmark process, but we've had so many things that have been coming up, right? So, we had the dog run that took up, pretty much the meetings for December and then January. And then now we have all of these things here. So we're looking possibly for April. But we're also balancing different things, but that's what we're hoping, maybe April. We would have liked to, that they
We
could have
want the
been here
office.
sooner, but, we just
Yeah.
have the air table, we have the district needs, we still have to do the resolution, we have the parks, report. So
And Neil, do you
maybe
want the
April.
office to reach out to Landmarks and see if they have someone who could come? The
So
Landmarks Corporation.
my understanding, like with landmarks, because I have reached out, is that they're not really well staffed. And that they said that sometimes they do things with borough board, I think, that they may come in from time to time. And that they said that that may be the best way to get, information from the borough board, just because they're so limited. But I do think HDC, because they work so closely with LPC, I think that's kind of second best, than what we could get. And HDC, they're really good.
Okay, so that's April.
Yeah, yep, we're projecting for April. That's right.
Thank you.
Can I ask another question?
Mhm.
Neil, what is it that you're trying to figure out on the landmark process? Cause I just had a 2-year mud fight with them.
We want it from the Landmarks Commission. We don't want to hear the nasty bits. We want to hear the process.
You wanna hear how the process goes?
Believe me, I know the process too, so.
Oh, okay.
But I think they just want some kind of a presentation about how the process is meant to go, to get landmarked, not.
Oh, to get
Yes,
landmark,
not to follow the Landmarks Commission.
not to follow the landmark commission. Okay.
Okay, public safety and sanitation.
So the short bit is, the Stuyvesant, the assault that occurred in Stuyvesant town. The community, the people I heard, including at the, 13th precinct, community council are, seething. Next week, there's going to be a, Stuytown, tenants association meeting, so I'm waiting to hear what happens there, and I'm waiting to hear from some things from the city. But my aim right now is to split the meeting up in 2 ways. The first is just generic guidance on how, as individuals, we should respond when we think we're about to be assaulted, both verbal, how we would respond verbally and physically. And there is some guidance on that, and I'm looking for NYPD to add to that and so on. And I won't go into detail now because.
So NYPD is going to come?
I don't know, I'm talking to them, but there's actually, some national, groups, and there's some academic work that seems to support it, but I'm still looking for more validation before I invite them in. And then the other side is that, after hearing the residents last night especially, I think there needs to be some communication between, the Stuyvesant town, public safety people and NYPD. I visited the Stuytown, command center, and I talked with the assistant chief there. I mean, these are real operations. It's not a toy, a chintzy operation. But the tenants are just demanding more. I don't think they know what they want more of, just more people. Get rid of the homeless. So there needs to be, and the NYPD was on the defensive. And I think there needs to just be a conversation. It's a little tough, but anyway, it'll be.
Who has her hand raised?
Yeah. No, one of the things is the Stuytown did have like a town hall, which really wasn't a town hall. It was essentially, I don't know if anybody else attended or not, but I did attend since I live in Stuytown. It was basically 8 people. One of them was NYPD officer, the other 7 worked for Stuytown, and they all just repeated the same information over and over again in different ways just to kill the time. It wasn't really a town hall because there were no questions. You had to submit the questions ahead of time, and they just pre-selected a few easy ones to answer. And that was kind of it. It was very, whenever they spoke, it was very corporate lawyerly speak. There was really no compassion or nothing else. And I think that kind of upset the residents more, if that helps to.
That they were definitely upset, but that was sponsored by Beam, right? That wasn't the tenant association, was it?
Yeah, that was Beam, and Tenants Association wasn't invited to speak at that event either
Right,
specifically.
so Susan's gonna get back to me next
Okay.
week. So we'll, I mean, everything's gonna depend on what happens then.
Is there anything else on the agenda?
No, if that doesn't happen, in fact, I'd probably cancel a meeting, but if it does happen, then we'll probably talk about district needs.
And your budget requests, because everybody's responses came in today.
Everyone's,
All committees got their responses, yes.
really,
It's posted online, so.
oh,
Yeah.
I have to look at it.
And just a clarifying question for now, this agenda item wording, I guess pending what you hear from Susan and the Tenants Association.
Yeah,
I'll also make a note here.
but I mean, that's not to be published anyplace, right? That's just for us, what you write in?
Yeah, yeah, and it's in red because it's tentative. So it's not gonna be published anywhere.
Mhm.
Okay. Budget and government affairs.
So Mayor Mamdani released the city budget yesterday
yes.
afternoon. So, and all of our budget requests have now been responded to. There's a big PDF file. So I'm assuming in the office usually like just picks out our section and then sends it out. So
I haven't gotten to
Brendan
that yet.
yeah,
But
but assuming that's gonna be happening sometime in the near few days, next few days, or just go online and scroll through the 900 pages and find, you can look at it now if you want to get a head start, but everyone should sort of keep in mind that budget requests now need to be kind of looked at, put on your agendas, responded to with the agencies. So our first thing is we're gonna be looking at the whole budget to sort of be able to see, so we have to submit a response on behalf of CB6 to the city budget. And so Sandy has to write something.
And I have to vote on it at Borough Board. And quite often, I must say, the rest of the city has different district needs than we do. So it's just good to keep that in mind. All right,
So yeah, and then we'll talk about our own budget requests, and then I have our committee handbook also on there, so I guess if
yeah,
Justin's working on that, then hopefully to be ready for that.
by March 11th.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Health and education.
Yeah, so we're gonna have council member Maloney come and give her views on the city retirees healthcare benefits. Back in January, we had somebody from the retirees benefits come and speak to us, so we wanted to invite the council member to kind of give her take on it. So she's gonna come. I feel like it's that meeting it might go on for a while because I've already heard some of the retirees might be coming to join that meeting because they are interested, obviously. So it might take some time, and then after that we're going to discuss the statement of district needs. Like I said, Gloria and I will have the blurb ready for the health and human services portion of it. And then Brendan will kind of go over the youth education and child welfare services part of it. So that's going to be the March meeting. By the way, quick question for Steve, the budget request, is it going to be on the budget page, like on the CB6 website, budget and government affairs page, committee page? Is that where it's posted?
it will be.
Okay,
It's not posted yet.
it's not there yet, but
Okay.
if you Google it, you can find it.
Alright.
You can wait for it to get posted.
Yeah, it will get posted. It is on my to-do list.
All right, thank you.
Okay, housing and homelessness.
We're actually meeting tomorrow. Because of the holiday on Monday, we had to push it, but there's nothing out of the ordinary here. It's just continuing to talk about the findings from the housing research that several members of the committee have done. Steve being one of them, which is great. So March's agenda, I haven't discussed yet, but I guess district needs statement will be on the March agenda, as well as the presentation from our community planning fellow.
Okay, so I'm gonna make note of that, so.
Yeah.
So district needs statement and presentation on community planning development.
Yes.
As that has the fellow been invited yet? Just for my edification.
I told her a few weeks ago that she'll have to come and present. On that day, so she's gonna have to be, you're gonna have to be available. But yeah, I've seen a couple drafts of the material and the work that she's done, and it looks really great, and I'm excited to share the rest of the committee.
Okay,
It's good.
we're gonna talk again about email, probably, just to try and solidify that. Land use and water.
Okay, so, the only things that are not on there, well, we're gonna finish our budget request on, the harms of, road and sidewalk salt. We're gonna have a budget request for, to fix the Patrick Brown Walk, since DDC unceremoniously, rejected our attempt to do it, last year. We're gonna study and, submit comments on the Manhattan Plan as a committee. And I suppose we should be reviewing our budget request answers, so that should be a new line item.
Is somebody gonna come and talk about salt? Because
We're just asking them to study, I mean, because the reason we don't have,
my only concern is that there were a lot of people talking about their salt experiences. And very little concrete, you know.
oh, but the reason it is very concrete in terms of like, there's a lot of data out there from the MTA, from upstate legislators. So the point is simply an aggregation of it, not for our anecdotal stories. The expertise is already out there.
So you're gonna give that information to the committee before the meeting, or
Well, we gave that, we're,
they already have it?
yeah, we're just asking for them to put it all in one place and quantify the harms. MTA is like very open on the harms, right? Upstate legislators are very open on the harms. We want one depository of,
Okay,
The
so
harms.
it's not gonna be a long discussion, because it's not
no,
yet.
that's a 2 minute, we already
Okay.
did it. And then we are going to assign I'm gonna get some volunteers to start a task force, so no email concerns, to cite possible locations for schools in the district, including the East Elk School.
Great.
So there's one agenda item for Monday, and that's a discussion of budget requests.
After that, in the chair's report, I'll do the school task force and the chair's report, maybe.
Probably that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, then, yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Business affairs and licensing. Anton, what's up?
So far, it's usual normal stuff for liquor authority. But number one, which I think is the 831 Third Avenue cannabis application. I thought it would be easy, since they fell within 1,000 feet of another cannabis location. And 280 feet of 2 schools. Then I got an email with the summary of what the governor signed off on. And it said 500 feet on the same street for schools. That doesn't work in New York City. And I think you saw the email I sent on that. I don't know how that snuck in, because that was a problem we had for months and months, and then there was, it was supposedly resolved that there was a reinterpretation by the Cannabis Control Board. And it was a 500 feet radius or 200-foot radius. No, they're saying on the same street.
Why doesn't that work in the city?
Pardon me?
Why doesn't that work?
So around the block.
So
Around the
you-
block.
You can have the cannabis shop here at the corner and the school on the other side of the corner, 50 feet away.
Yeah, that was literally the case with the Montessori school.
Right.
That's literal,
So,
maybe 150,
but it certainly was within 500 feet. They have submitted an application to the Cannabis Control Board, which is similar to the 500-foot rule application that the SLA requires if you open a liquor shop or sell liquor within 500 feet of another establishment that sells liquor. So they're well aware that they're within the 1,000 feet. But My feeling is that the reason the 1,000-foot rule was put in is so we don't have a cannabis shop on every corner. And I would hope that the community would be out full force to support, at least for me, not speaking for the committee because we haven't met on this. Support us and not giving a positive resolution for a new cannabis shop, given the schools and the 1,000-foot rule.
But you're reinterpreting the 1,000-foot rule yourself then, as opposed to what the governor is interpreting.
No, the
No.
governor says
No,
1,000.
the rule is 1,000 feet, just like the rules for the SLA 500 feet of liquor establishments. You can petition the Office of Cannabis Management on a form called a community convenience form that recognizes that you are attempting to set up a cannabis shop within 1,000 feet of another cannabis shop.
Right, but I'm sorry, didn't you say the governor reinterpreted the,
That's
whether it's
rules.
linear versus?
It's the 500-foot.
That's 500 rule. Anyway, so,
Have any community I guess we should say this, but have any community organizations shown an interest?
I just, just got, and by the way, supposedly this 831 Third Avenue is the Essa Bagel Shop.
They're moving.
They're moving to 66th Street or something like that.
Further, a little further south,
Sorry?
a little further south.
Oh, south, oh,
Yeah.
anyway, so they're moving, it's a
Was
pretty
there-
big place, almost as big as Flintstones.
Oh, God, you're always hitting me with that.
So are there are only four items?
So
So far?
far, I mean,
And I mean, has
There are a few others.
Oh,
I stayed at the top because that's where the cannabis item is.
and do you have any budget requests?
no, not yet.
Not yet, but it is something you're gonna discuss, okay?
Yeah.
Is that hopefully,
But if we have time and there's not a lot of community
okay,
discussion.
okay,
And by the way, we do meet over the summer, so we.
yeah, do you have time to
Yeah, time.
address it, okay. I think that's it, it's, if any member of the committee has any old or new business, please raise your hand. Stu,
I actually had four things, but since Jesus isn't here, you're lucky. But there is one issue that the fourth one. The motion, for to move the previous question, I think is a motion which has been abused. It is not supposed to be used to shut people up or to cut off debate before there's fair deliberation. And the way Robert's Rules does it, you need a two-thirds or three-quarter vote, I guess a 2/3, a supermajority that kind of protects people. So I don't want to be the gadfly that objects and forces a roll call vote. I would suggest, and I'd like to propose, but I want to hear what people feel about this, that we modify the bylaws in a way that's a little bit awkward. That says that if a motion for the previous question is made and seconded, that someone can instantly move to extend debate. And if the motion for this, to extend debate is accepted unanimously, then we continue talking. If it's rejected, then debate ends. That's.
and what you're referring to is when someone says, call the question and seconds it, that shouldn't end the debate. If someone still wants to talk, they should be able to
Right, and
discuss it.
what we've just, I mean, historically and certainly before your time, that was actually used to shut everyone up, and it wasn't even understood as a vote. It was just understood as, okay, now everyone shuts up. You've been,
I use the language that you gave me.
yeah, so you've been, but, and no one's, I don't think has objected.
Yeah.
But there are a few times that I thought to. And I'm.
So rather than change the bylaws, why don't we just make sure that the chairs are all here, that we don't cut off debate at
Well-
that point. You have to ask if there's,
First, and I did not know this, at the last time we met in committee, but in fact, under Robert's rules, the motion for, the previous question is not allowed. So that's not permitted in a committee.
I think maybe you should use the description that most of the committees use. It's, you're talking about calling.
You're not allowed to call the question. It's not permitted in the committee meeting, under Robert's rules. The only place it's an issue, and in committees, most of the time, we're a friendly bunch and, the chair manages it.
Yeah.
But at full board, I think it's an issue, and I mean, we're always trying to get through the full board, and I don't wanna force a roll call vote, but I think we need some procedure. So I drafted an amendment to the bylaws, which is a little complex, but I'd rather hear what people feel about this.
And
What's your proposal? Sorry. What's your proposal for how we handle it?
My proposal is that if somebody calls the question and seconds it, then another member has the right to immediately move to extend debate, which counters that. The motion to extend debate can then be accepted unanimously, in other words, without objection. Or if somebody objects to that, then we do have to have a vote, which is what we would have had to do if somebody just objected anyway. If people vote to extend debate, then the debate's extended. If they vote not to, then the motion, then calling the question is adopted.
Is that Robert's rule of law?
This is outside, no, Roberts just has, you can call the question. And except under Roberts, it's a 2/3 vote. So it's a super majority. We can't do that at a board because the city charter requires that all votes are by majority. So, and the idea, my idea is that I don't want to have to object and then have a roll call vote every time. But I want some way to object. So I think the way to do it is to basically, instead of saying I object, to say I move to extend debate.
so you're not allowed to say, call the question.
You're allowed to call the question and someone seconds it, but then if someone objects.
If someone objects.
So instead of objecting, saying, making a motion to extend debate. And if that's accepted unanimously, in other words, no one objects to that, then,
You mentioned before that this call the question was abused. At least for 4 or 5 years, I've been on the board and the committees, very rarely.
Not a committee, I'm not saying a committee.
But at full board?
Only full board, yeah.
Oh, call the question.
I mean, sometimes people call the question right away. Like the 34th Street busway. We heard tons of debate and somebody stood up and called the question immediately when it came. And there was no problem. Nobody wanted to debate it anymore. But it was pretty instantaneous.
And sometimes, I mean, even I have a certain reservation about objecting, but the fact that no one rises and objects doesn't mean that no one feels that way. So
I would rather it become part of our policy, like part of our general how we deal with things than revising the bylaws.
Yeah.
So how would?
I also think, why isn't that why we have a chair? The chair is there to decide.
No, the chair.
Is it appropriate to, because I could envision where someone was like, no, I just want to discuss this. And one other person will say, yeah, I want to discuss it too, and then we're gonna be there. Even though it really isn't in the interest of everyone to have a 50-person discussion. So the chair really has the authority and also the
chair has no authority under the bylaws. If somebody calls the question and someone seconds it, then you have to either take a vote or you accept it by acclamation.
I'd have to go back to the tape, but I think Steve's right. I think that at a recent meeting, I forget what the topic was. Someone called the question and someone seconded it, but Sandy saw that there were people who wanted to speak and she let it continue. So I think that's what Steve's getting at. I forget the issue. but
And
remember the
I think,
topic.
Steve, you're talking about the Meet the Health and Education meeting where someone called the question, it was second, and there was still someone
And-
wanted to debate.
And I objected,
And the
I-
debate
And
went
the
on.
debate continued.
and I was, well,
I was on the
but,
committee.
but two things again. One is that it was out of order in the committee anyway. And secondly,
You don't want to be the one who objects.
I don't mind if it's me. I'd rather a full board that we don't have to go into that though.
Well, per Robert's rules, it's a vote, not a.
Right.
There's not a requirement.
Robert's
Robert's
rule-
rule says there should be a 2/3 vote after a seconded call to question, right?
Mhm.
No, it's if someone objects, then you need the 2/3 vote to go forward.
Well,
That's not my understanding.
Isn't that what you just said, Steve? Like if.
yeah, no, what we normally do is somebody moves, somebody calls the question, someone seconds it. Sandy says without objection, it's adopted, something like that. And because that's unanimous consent. But if one person objects, which could be me, then you have to vote. Then you have to vote on it. And Robert says it's a 2/3 vote. We don't do 2/3 vote. Because that's what the city charter prohibits. It says we have to do a majority vote. But the 2/3
city
vote
charter-
is used to protect the minority.
Why does the city charter for all votes requires majority votes?
It's my understanding,
Okay.
it's my reading of the city charter, we can only, all of our votes have to pass by.
And Tanya, you had your hand up, sorry.
Listen, I like debate. I think debate is healthy for everyone. And it really is part of the interchange in what we're trying to get to here. I have felt one or two times when, somebody's been wanting to debate a little more and then all of a sudden, I'll call the question and it was a little jarring a couple of times, but it's the exception, not the rule. But I think Steve is right. That's what the chair's role is. Because sometimes I feel that if the opinion of someone we don't like, we don't want to hear it. And it's a call to question and that's not right. And so I think that it's common sense, really. It's more common sense than anything else. I don't think we need to go as far as to put it in the bylaws. And that's gonna create a real issue because at full board, if someone calls the question, another one seconds it, and then someone objects, now you have to go, do the whole vote. And we don't want filibusters, for sure, but we want a healthy debate.
Yeah.
And just because we don't like someone's opinion, doesn't mean we need to call the question.
But you're saying that the chair can violate Robert's rules. Because once somebody moves the question and it's seconded, you have to vote. You either vote or we do it by unanimous consent. The chair doesn't have the discretion to say,
Mhm.
well, let's continue debate. I mean, we could write that into the bylaws. We can say the chair can continue debate.
I really don't think it's required. I really would prefer it to be the chairs
I think so.
lead the meeting. And they lead it in a way that they feel is appropriate for the committee and.
I'm not talking about committee meetings. I'm only talking about full board. At committee meetings, committee meetings calling the question is out of order. It's not permitted under Robert's rules, only full board.
So because people call the question at committee meeting. all the time.
They do, and it's a violation of Roberts, which was another issue that I was gonna bring, up, but I'm not gonna do that right
And
now.
I mean, we know CB8 only has remote meetings. It's a violation.
I was just gonna ask about alignment between core bylaws.
Look, I'm not a very formal person for the
Yeah.
most part. I mean, I think I do everything to demonstrate that. But I do want to see the purpose of the rules is often to be fair.
Well, and then let's put it another way. How do committee chairs end debate when it's become when it's become debate that's not meaningful?
You stop recognizing speakers, which is the power of the chair, right?
Yeah. But that's again, probably against Robert's rules, right? Don't you have to recognize everybody?
I don't think so.
Chair, committees are informal. I mean, Robert says
So-
No,
that.
but even in full board, I don't think the chair has to recognize. I think the chair has the discretion as to whether or not to recognize someone to speak.
What, at full board?
And yes,
No, if somebody stands, everyone is entitled to speak and they're entitled to speak twice. I mean, if you're gonna get that formal about it. I'm not trying to get that formal about it.
I think we should be. Has anyone complained recently to you, Stu, or to you, Sandy, about not being able to get a word in during?
No,
So it hasn't been an issue from anyone else in there?
well, there was it came up at a meeting this month, but
Oh, I see.
But
The
it's,
question was
it,
called in.
but I mean, I know people at full board who have been upset. And I've been upset at full board sometimes. We're all kind of trying to not be too obnoxious about it, especially because if you object, that it means another 3 minutes of roll call voting.
Right.
So I'm just looking for a way to be able to object without doing a roll call vote, basically.
well, and I would hope that people at full board, if they really do want to continue talking, that they can put up their hand and say, I'd like this to be acknowledged. Like, that's all they have to do.
I don't think that's clear to people that I believe once call the question is called, I think most people understand that to be that ends
The debate is ended.
Yeah.
And look, historically, that's exactly before Sandy's time. I was gonna say that's BS, but that's not. But
BST.
before Sandy, that is what happened.
Yeah.
Is that it was when someone called the question, there was never even a question of whether anyone could object. It was, any two people could just stop debate.
That was
So-
my until I recently looked into this, that was my understanding of how call the question works.
Right.
I agree with you, Stu, that we should be following Robert's rules, ultimately. And if we procedurally been violating Robert's rules, we should correct for that.
Well, it'd be easy to follow the rules by just saying, wait, I want to talk. Yeah, I know the question's been called, but I still have more debate.
But that's it, then we have to vote. That person is officially objecting
Right.
to the motion.
Yes,
And if you object to the motion, that forces a vote.
I don't
or
think
the
we,
chair says we'll continue the discussion.
I don't mean this as a criticism by any means, but I don't think it's clear that we're asking for objection when call the question has come. I think we're just like, call the question and so now we're gonna vote. I think I think you're correctly raising a flag that we're not following the Robert's rules of calling the question, and we need to make it clearer that it's that motion is debatable or objectionable and
It's objectionable.
It's
actually
objection.
not debatable, but it is objectionable.
right.
And what happens if there's an objection?
Then you take a roll call
Call
vote, then.
Yeah, I guess technically we should be asking this, does anybody object to, we now have a motion of calling the question, does anybody object
Sandy
to?
does that.
Yes, he does that.
I don't think,
I don't use those words. It's something about if there's
Without
more
objection,
discussion.
but Sandy
Yeah.
does that.
okay,
So, maybe if we put that, we have a script, we just add it to the script and say, listen, or, if anyone has objected, any objections to voting at this point, or we'll come up with something based on.
But then you're forcing a roll call vote.
No, I think it doesn't force it, the chair goes ahead, well, okay.
yeah, I think you're
they're
right,
not following
in terms of rules
Robert's
of order, yeah.
I mean, we adopted Roberts, we adopted the bylaws, we're not really following them. We wrote the bylaws, they're our rules. So I just think, we have them for a reason, and rules, for the most part, are designed for fairness. I mean, they're not designed to be obnoxious and.
Yeah, so we have, at the next full board meeting, we explain what the rules are and we just follow that. If anyone objects, we'll have a vote. But it's not.
I think that'd be helpful.
Hi, I've had my hand up a couple of minutes, so
Sorry.
I just wanted to interject. It's okay, I'm not there. Again, privilege of being in the room versus being virtual. I'm looking at Justin. This could also be something fully emphasized in the data that he's collecting to, I think Steve talking about the guidelines or whatever rubric or training manuals that we're creating that could be emphasized there. Like there are
Yeah.
multiple ways to reinforce the things that we already created. In addition to in lifetime at full board meetings, just to emphasize the point, the rules we have, what is the protocol? Because as someone who's new, I don't know. I'm ignorant. So yeah, that would be helpful. And also in the anticipation of when people roll off and new members come in, this is a good protocol to revisit anyway.
I'm sorry, Justin, did you have your hand up? No, it's getting darker and darker.
Its battery still. I know.
I mean, I think that, you know, Stuart's basically sensitizing us to something that he feels we should be aware of, and I think that's a good thing. And I think, to me, the logical process would be to, you know, follow what you just suggested in terms of how we move ahead. And then, you know, there is a process that we can go into to revise the bylaws, you know, which we have to start, you know, it's a 3-month process. I mean, and
2 months.
well, it takes a month.
It takes a month and then it has to pass.
Yes, but by the time you
And to be
practically
honest, I
do
think
it-
there are other things in our bylaws that we should change.
Well, that's what I was gonna make, excuse me, let me finish. The point I was gonna make was that could then be rolled in, what you're suggesting, to other things in the bylaws that people wanna change, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that positively, you know,
So
so.
you're now signing up for the bylaws.
Well, first
It
of
was on
all,
the last one. He
let-
can't be on the next one.
let's be clear, no, I wasn't on it, I just spoke a lot. Let's be clear that when I speak, it is not equivalent to volunteering.
You've been here long enough to know.
I have made
You have
this,
a saying in Cuba, Stu, you're a master of your silence and a slave to your words.
I have made this declaration and I will have it woven onto my shirt if I need to. I'd like to revise this. I have other things when Jesus is here anyway, so we can bring them all together at one shot. But I'd like to revise this conversation next month.
Okay, so you don't want at next full board to go to talk about, to explain what the process is?
I'm willing to defer, for a month.
Maybe it'd be easier just to put this little couple of sentences in the script saying.
That's
that
what was my suggestion, yeah.
But
We
then,
are following Robert's Rules of Order, and if there is a call to sorry,
Or question.
call the question. And it's seconded under Robert's Rules of Order.
If there's an objection, we can vote.
I would sort of oppose that only because there's a lot of Robert's rules and why choose that to be the tutorial on Robert's rules.
Well, because it's come up as an issue.
Oh, I think you should bring it up as, sorry, you mean at every meeting or like as an introduction, as a reminder?
No, it's at every meeting when we go to vote.
Because basically we are following Robert's Rules of Order.
Oh.
I haven't read the whole manual, but we are. From what I understand.
Supposedly, yeah.
why don't let's bring this up next month, the next executive. I know you want to discuss it month after month, but there were some other issues I wanted to raise and Jesus will be here then.
Okay.
Why are we deferring it?
I'm sorry.
Why defer it? What's gonna happen next month?
I have other issues that I want to bring. You guys are all going to think about it and you're going to come out and come back and realize that I was right.
Wait, give us a teaser.
I mean, if you want, we can finish.
You're motioning the table is what you.
That's probably not Robert's rules.
I think it is, but
Is it?
yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to mention what your other issues are.
No,
Okay.
it's not fair to Jesus, because
All right. If there are no objections, we will adjourn the meeting. Seeing no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:14. Thank you.
Thank you.